Are you tired of getting denied for business funding? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to leverage business trade lines to get you approved. What you guys fail to realize is a lot of people simply don't have comparable business trade lines on their business credit reports in order for financial institutions to feel comfortable lending to them. And that's where business trade lines come into effect. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering everything that you need to know about our business trade line program and how we can help get you more funding by leveraging business trade lines. Let's get started. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Credit Coach Nicole Scott, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about business trade lines, how they work, how they can benefit you, and how they're going to look on your credit reports. We report business trade lines to Experian Business, Equifax Business, and the Small Business Financial Exchange, also known as the SBFE. Try saying that 20 times in a row. SBFE, SBFE. Okay, you guys win, but you get the drift. We're here to talk about business trade lines, so let's go ahead and let's get into it. Like I said prior, we offer trade lines that are going to report to all three of these business credit bureaus, and that's going to help you because a lot of people simply don't have comparable credit. We also offer authorized user trade lines for the personal side, so that way you can leverage authorized user trade lines to get higher credit cards in your personal name, which also helps on the business side. Adding trade lines helps a tremendous amount when you are looking to get funding, because if you don't have a $100,000 line of credit on your credit report, what makes you think a bank is just going to be the first one to give it to you? So by adding trade lines that are of a higher value and not a net 30, but an actual credit line, revolving line of credit, or a credit loan, a cash value, banks and financial institutions are going to feel a lot more comfortable lending to you when you have a reputable business trade line on your business credit report. Similar to personal credit, it's always hard to get credit when you're first starting out or you just have a really thin profile. And that's where business trade lines come into play. They can work with business loans, business lines of credit, business credit cards, and even business auto loans and leases. So let's get started with it all. Now, I will say this, if you are looking to purchase individual trade lines, you can only purchase individual trades with either Experian or SBFE. If you want your business trade lines to report to Equifax, you are going to have to purchase one of our business trade line packages, and we're going to be going over what all of those packages entail in this video. If you are a startup company, that's really no problem. You just have to be in business with the Secretary of State, registered with the Secretary of State, and have a valid EIN. Again, so you have to be registered with the Secretary of State. Whatever the Secretary of State has on file for you, that's what's going to be used. It doesn't matter when you filed your EIN with the IRS. It's all about what the Secretary of State says in regards to your corporation. You could have been having your EIN years ago, but you didn't register with the Secretary of State until recently. But nonetheless, if you are a newer business, you just have to be around for a minimum of 3 months in order for us to give you some sort of credit trade lines. Now, if you are under 1 year old, you are not able to get anything more than $25,000. That's just really a red flag in a lot of financial institutions' eyes when you are a brand new business and a bank is just going to give you $100,000. It's very unlikely. So the older that your business is, the better. Obviously, even if you're not ready to start your business now, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that as well, and getting a virtual business location for your business so you look better on paper. If you are looking to get at least $50,000 in business trade lines, you have to be in business for at least 1 year. If you are at least 1 year old or more, then you will be able to get at least a $50,000 line of credit or $50,000 trade line, up to a $50,000 trade line on your credit reports. Here are the individual trade lines that we offer. So you can buy increments of $25,000, so $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, all the way up to $250,000 for individual trade lines that will report to either Experian or the SBFE. Now, if I were you, I would probably select SBFE because they're going to report their data to all of their vendors anyways. We'll go over that a little bit later as well. Here are the different business trade line combined packages that we are offering right now. Things are always changing, so you can always email us to get our latest and greatest updated packages that will reflect the current market value for these business trade lines. Package A is going to be $25K on each business bureau, which is a total of $75K total worth of business credit. So you're going to have a $25K trade line reported to Experian, Equifax, and SBFE. So that's going to be a great win for those of you that are just starting out and looking to get $25K or more. If you guys are looking to get more, I would select either package B or C. Package B is going to be a $50K equaling an $150K total. Package C, $75K, $225K total. Package D, we're looking at the $100K. So this is the big boy package in my opinion, and personally one of my favorite because $100K is going to get you a long way, my friends. So that's $300K total of business credit on your business trade lines. Talk about comparable credit. This is exactly what I did in order to get business funding when I first started out, because as a new business, I didn't have comparable credit. All I had was a bunch of net 30s. And in this day and age, 2024, it's just not going to cut it. Net 30s are just not going to cut it anymore. Banks and financial institutions want to see real cash valued business trade lines so they can feel more comfortable lending to you because you already have comparable credit on your business reports. And of course, generally, if your business is making under 1 million in revenue, your personal credit is still going to be needed. So you're still going to need a decent personal credit score. I would say anywhere of 700 to 720 plus. In this day and age, a 680 is just no longer good enough. And if you can wait just a little bit longer, make a few tweaks to your credit report, maybe even possibly purchase an authorized user to get your score up, and make sure your data points are right, then you're going to be set up for success. Not to mention package E and F, $250K for package F, which is a total of $750K worth of business credit. We also do SBF auto lease trade lines as well. So those of you that are looking to get a high limit auto lease or auto loan, this helps tremendously. We actually just worked with a client who added an auto lease to SBFE, and then when it applied for the business commercial auto loans directly with Ford and was approved because they had comparable credit on their credit report from another financial institution. This is going to be a total game changer for you guys because oftentimes when you're first starting out with the auto loans, it's very challenging to get approved because none of these banks want to be the first bank to approve you these days. So now we have to invest in structuring our business credit reports so that way we can look like a credible business that can be trusted, and you just have to maintain your payments. So if it's not something that you can manage comfortably, don't do it because you still have to pay that monthly payment and it's going to come within the next 30 days. But we can do SBF auto leases for up to $400,000. Again, they are only going to report to SBFE, but if you understand how SBFE works, they will report this business trade line to the other credit reporting agencies, and it could take up to 90 days for them to get that data. So it's going to spread out to the other credit reporting agencies on the business side anyways. Now, generally, the cost of an SBFE auto lease trade line is going to be 5% of whatever the loan amount is. So for example, if you're looking to get $100K auto loan added to your business profile because you want to go get that brand new Benz or, that brand new vehicle right off the lot under your business credit, it's going to be $5,000. But I always tell people, would you rather have a stellar credit score or have to pay the dealer 50% up front or at least 30% up front? We're charging 5% for the business auto trade line to help you get approved through through your business. Again, you still might need to leverage that personal credit, but if your business has been around for over 2 years and you have some financials to back it, oftentimes you can get auto loans and auto leases in your business name only without using a PG, because your business is strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet and the banks feel comfortable lending to you. Now, generally the market value of these auto lease trade lines is 10%. Anything less than that is considered a discount. So obviously we're not going to charge you 10%. We are charging you half of what the market value is, which is only 5% of whatever the trade line is that you want to purchase. This is a game changer, guys. And I do Turo, so I have 3 auto loans. I have a Mercedes, I have a Dodge Charger, I have a Toyota Camry, and they're always gone. It's just a great revenue stream for you guys to, look into and see if that would be something that would work in the area that you're in. Now, I'm in Northern California. It's a pretty decent area. I used to be in the Bay Area. That was even a better market. So you just have to do some market research and make sure it's going to make sense for you. Not every type of vehicle is going to do well in every type of area. So do your market research, see what vehicles have the most amount of trips on the Turo app, and then, just do it accordingly. If you need help, book a call. The link is below. Now, let's talk about SBFE for a minute. Their approved certified vendors right here are Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, and LexisNexis on the business side. Yes, there is a LexisNexis for the business side. Even if you may have never heard of it, LexisNexis collects more data about us than we probably have about us. Believe me when I tell you, they are one of the #1 data reporting agencies in the United States. Let's talk a little bit about the Small Business Financial Exchange and how they work, just in case you're not familiar with them. Now, the Small Business Financial Exchange is an association. They have what's called approved certified vendors. And guess who their vendors are? Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, and LexisNexis, all on the business side. So what that means is if your commercial lender is an SBFE member, then your payment history is going to get reported to the SBFE. So for example, if you purchase a trade line with us, we are an SBFE member, and our vendor will then report that trade line directly to the Small Business Financial Exchange. And it can take up to 60 days. Sometimes they're a little slow, but we'll get into all that posting information a little bit later on in the video. Then what the SBFE does is they provide that payment information, because again, all of these companies are sharing data. So the SBFE will provide that payment history to the following credit reporting agencies: Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, and LexisNexis. So again, since they are their certified vendors, they're going to just be sharing that information, and eventually that trade line is going to show up under that profile as well. And if you have not generated an SBFE report yet, or you have not generated an Experian or Equifax report, these trade lines will help you generate a score directly with the business bureaus, and I will show you how that works, because guess what? I just had a client, we had the trade lines report, and he was able to generate his reports with both the SBFE and Experian. Before this, he did not have a score, so he was not really able to get approved for anything on the business side because he did not even have a profile. So what this does, it creates a profile for you guys. Now, this is how the SBFE model works, just in case you're not familiar with them. I'm not going to go over this in detail, but if you have access to the business bank funding, funding and more course, the slideshow is actually going to be located inside of the course, along with all of the other videos and all of the other slideshows that I do with my training videos. So you can review it at a later time, but basically this just shows how the SBF works for those of you that are not familiar with them and have never heard of them. For those of you that have heard of them, I don't want to bore you anymore. Now, let's talk about some important posting information, because I know you guys always have a ton of questions, and I always try to answer everyone's question. But in this video, I break down the most commonly asked questions based on what the feedback that I get. So let's talk about some of the posting information. Number one, the corporation must be in good standing with the Secretary of State. Again, we are going to go off of the data listed with the Secretary of State. Number two, you must have a valid business address. Okay, you cannot use a P.O. box, and you cannot use any sort of USPS postal box. Okay, no P.O. boxes. If for some reason you are using your home address, that's fine for now. We can always update it later, but I highly recommend that you either use Opus Virtual Office or Alliance Virtual Office to get a real office location. Okay, it's gonna look better because again, we want you to look good on paper, and these are real valid office locations. So if someone Googles your business address, they're gonna see a nice shiny office in a professional location, and you can actually use these buildings to meet with people. So it is like your real office if you needed it. You can receive mail there, they will forward the mail to you. So it's a whole setup on the business side. And that is exactly how I was able to get business funding when I first started out. Not to mention that I've been using Opus in my business operations career for the last 15 years, and they have never failed me. Okay. So I'm a huge fan of both Opus, and there is a discount code. You can save $100 off of the setup fee if you use our discount code and link below. So again, Opus or Alliance Virtual Office locations, that's where you're going to want to get your business office location, so you do not have to use your home address. And then you're just going to update your business address with the Secretary of State and the IRS. And once those changes have been reflected, then let's go ahead and get your trade lines going, okay? I just had a client, he had an issue. He was using a P.O. box. We ended up having to use his home address, but now he's in the process of changing it, because by using your home address, the business credit bureaus will reject the trade line, okay? We have to use a physical mailing address. We cannot use any sort of P.O. box. Just like with the banks, they don't want to use, a P.O. box. They are going to want to send it to your home address if your business address is a P.O. box. So let's talk about the business address a little bit more in detail. I know I kind of already went over it, but you guys know I tend to repeat myself. And the only reason why I tend to repeat myself is because I just want to reiterate how important this information is. Because again, I just had a client that submitted his business trade line order and it had a P.O. box on it. So again, must be active for the Secretary of State, must have an actual physical address, again, Opus or Alliance. Again, if the business address is a P.O. box, it will be rejected. So we will have to use your home address. And if you have a P.O. box, it just doesn't look professional. Okay. So guys, invest in your business, because the more that you invest in your business, the more return you're going to get, because you have to know how to look good on paper, even if you have a home business office and you operate your business out of your home, which is very common these days, and people can still get funding. But if you want to maximize your funding, you really want to take note of these things. And again, for those of you that have not signed up for my coaching, a lot of information out there is getting played out. It's no longer valid. So all of you guys who think that this management consulting NAICS code is still working as a low risk business, you are sadly mistaken. And I have put together some information on that inside of the Banks Funding and More course, and what NAICS code you guys should be using that is actually low risk. Because guess what? All of these funding companies, all of these gurus, all of these courses and classes that you guys are in, these people, you're paying them thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, they're teaching you the information over and over, and they're burning it out. Okay, it's being ran into the ground, and that play has been played. Okay, so yes, management, consulting businesses, those are now looked at as high risk in some aspects. Okay, so be careful. And if you need to sign up for coaching, visit the link below and we can connect more. Opus, I really like Opus because it's $99 a month and you get a business address and a business telephone number with a live receptionist. So if a bank were to call and verify your phone number or something happens, where that used to happen to me all the time. They always wanted a business phone number. So with Opus, you're paying $99 a month. You can get that business telephone number. And if for some reason in the future you're transferring it away from Opus, you can transfer that phone number to Ring Central or whatever phone provider that you would like. Okay. So that's why I really like Opus. They have tons of different premium office locations. You always want to look up your business location with the USPS.com and make sure that it is not a mail receiving location. Okay. Some of these addresses may have been flagged, but you can go directly to the USPS website and verify that it is not a mail receiving company. And I have instructions on how to do that inside of the Banks Funding and More course. So you can get that. And the link is below to get that course. Now they're a little bit different, still equally great. And some of them even share the, same addresses, different suites. And again, you'll get a suite number assigned to you. So every suite is considered to be a different business location. But they have, virtual offices for as low as $48 in like New York, Los Angeles, $60, but it doesn't come with the business telephone number. This is just for a business address. So if you're just looking for a business address, Opus might be a little bit better for you. But if you want to get, the whole shebang, I would just go with Opus. But either one, whatever's going to work better for you and your budget, they're both equally great. So just do a little bit of research. And if you could use our links below in the description, because we are partnered with both of them. So by using our links, we will earn a very, very small commission. And that helps support our channel so I can continue to create content like that to educate you guys, because believe me when I tell you, creating these videos takes a lot of time and they are very expensive to edit and all of that good stuff. So I greatly appreciate your guys' support. And if you haven't by now, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. Give me a huge thumbs up and leave me a comment below and let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or share your experience with this whole situation. Now, keep in mind here, the history that we report as a business trade line, it is going to vary based on the amount of time that your business has been open. So if you are a brand new business, obviously you're not going to have much history, right? So we are going to report history based on your business age. So it can be anywhere from 4 months to 5 years old. Okay. The longer you have been established as a business, the longer history that we can report, depending on, of course, your age. Now, as a business, of course, not your age personally, but we're talking about business here. So that's how the history goes. Sometimes there's people that need different tweaks and things, and we can always adjust things, or we can create custom packages for someone if they need some sort of tweak after it has been reported. Okay. We cannot remove history once it's been reported, but we can, work on the balance due, because sometimes the debt to income can affect people in a negative manner. And we're going to talk about that as well. So back to the balances reported. If your business has been around for less than 2 years, then we will not post a balance below 50%. Okay. So if you get a $50,000 trade line, then your balance is probably going to be pretty high because you haven't been in business that long. Okay. We can always adjust that later on if you needed to get more funding and needed to have this paid down to very minimal or paid off, then we could talk about that, but there is an additional fee for that. Okay. So, and again, we can talk, you can book a consultation. My quick consultations are dirt cheap compared to everyone else. They are less than $50. So book a consultation and see if this is going to be a good fit for you. And again, we offer business trade lines and personal AU trade lines. I do not recommend buying personal primary trade lines. I have not found any luck in it. If you have, leave a comment below. But I recently had a client who purchased primary personal trade line from someone that, is pretty popular on social media, and it never posted. It's been 90 days and it never posted. And that's kind of, the pattern that I see with a lot of these primary personal trade lines is they simply just don't post. And I know as much as we need them, they're just garbage trade lines. You don't want to take the risk. And a lot of times banks won't even recognize them because they're not a credible lender and it just looks fake. Just like, the My Jewelers Club and all of those crappy trade lines that used to be open for a fee, they all got shut down. So you build your own primary trade lines. Yes, it takes longer, but if you want to do things the right way, you have to take your time and do it right. Okay. There's nothing that can rush time, but if you start now, then it's going to happen a lot sooner than you think. Stop trying to take shortcuts. There's nothing fast about credit. Okay. I hate to tell you the bearer of bad news, but you know how I say, if you knew better, you do better. Here's a popular question that I get from a lot of people that buy the trade lines and are very anxious to see them report. When are they going to show up on my credit reports? Well, 60 days. That's my short answer. But generally, it's a lot quicker than that. For example, the client that I was just working with that just had his post yesterday, I think it was about a 30-day period for him, but I told him 60 days because I don't want you guys harassing me in 30 days, exactly 31 days saying, hey, it didn't post, because sometimes it can take longer. So SBFE is very slow to report. Generally, you're going to see the trade lines report to Experian much quicker and then SBFE. But, it just kind of depends, but give it at least 60 days. It could be sooner, but do not quote me on that because it could take 60 days, just kind of depending on how fast the business bureaus are processing the data that they're receiving. So again, and it's 60 days from the date of payment. How long do the business trade lines report for? This is also a very popular question, and it's a great question. And here is the answer, and I want you guys to really take heed of this because there's a lot of information that's circling around out there. But, maybe you're just not hearing it all, or maybe they're just not telling you all of the information. Now, we guarantee that the business trade line will remain on your business credit profile for a minimum of 9 months, okay? And if someone else has told you that their business trade lines stay on forever, they are simply lying because most trade lines, once they're 2 years old, they just fall off, okay? And that's generally how it works. But I have seen trade lines stay on for years at a time. So it varies, but 9 months is plenty enough time for you to get funding and grow your business, especially if your business has been around for at least 2 years. If you're starting at 1 year, I would say you're an action taker, and I love it because I was the same way, and I kept getting denied because my business didn't have comparable credit and it was just too young. But once I hit that 18-month mark, it was on. You name it, I was getting it. And I was finally like, oh my God, it works. Because at first I was like, I just am not getting approved for nothing. Well, it's because I didn't have comparable credit. I had to build up my business credit reports just like I did my personal reports. And you have to understand it's all about data points, okay? Especially like with SBFE, they report data. They don't have a score. They're just sharing data. No bank out there is going to feel comfortable being the first one to give you $50K, to give you $100,000, especially if it's unsecured, okay? Our primary business trade lines, not like the personal side where they are authorized users. There is no such thing as authorized users on the business side. So for example, if you get like an American Express card on your business, you can add additional users and account managers to your American Express account, but it's not going to report to their personal credit and it's not going to report anywhere for them. Just like with American Express, they are a member of the SBFE. So chances are you might not necessarily see your American Express on some of the business bureaus because not every account is going to get transferred through. So American Express is one of those cards that's kind of like hidden debt, and I love it because if someone runs your personal credit or someone runs your business credit reports, generally they're not going to be able to see them. Now, I do think that eventually that is going to catch up and all of this data is going to be transferred through the SBFE because American Express is starting to work heavily with the SBFE. Before, it was just a personal guarantee and you're good to go. But for those of you that are revenuing high in your business, you don't want to provide a personal guarantee. These business trade lines are going to literally be a game changer changer for you guys. So when it is the time for you to add business trade lines, I highly recommend investing in your business because the return on your investment is going to 10x. You would have never got $100,000 had you not had $100,000 trade line on your business report before. It just simply is not going to happen, right? Unless you have revenue and, docs and all that other stuff. So that's why business trade lines are just such a game changer. So let's talk about the business credit reports. Now you can use NAV, and I am a huge fan of NAV, and NAV has recently made some changes. I am actually a NAV affiliate, so I get notifications a lot sooner than you guys. So NAV has recently made some changes, and coming in 2024, they are no longer going to be reporting to Dun & Bradstreet, or they're not going to be providing you with a DUNS number. They're no longer going to be providing you with a personal credit report. So moving forward, they said that they are just going to be focusing on the most important business bureaus, which is Experian, Equifax, and the SBFE. You will only see data probably from Experian and Equifax since those are the most popular, but the NAV is no longer going to be providing anything to do with Dun & Bradstreet. They did mention that they will still report your payments to Dun & Bradstreet, but I don't blame them. Dun & Bradstreet is very difficult to work with, and a lot of banks out there simply just do not use Dun & Bradstreet. And if they use Dun & Bradstreet, it's most likely like a vendor or a supplier account. Most banks and financial institutions are either going to be pulling from Experian, Equifax, or the SBFE. Now, there are some banks out there that can be looking at Dun & Bradstreet. For example, I had a conversation with a representative from City National Bank, and they did mention to me that if someone is not going to be using a personal guarantee, that they will be pulling their report from Dun & Bradstreet. So Dun & Bradstreet is still somewhat relevant, but NAV does not think so because they said that they're going to be focusing on the business bureaus that banks use the most, which is Experian and Equifax. So again, guys, you can use NAV. It's $49.95 a month. You can use our link below. Again, we're affiliated with them. So if you use our link, it supports our channel and we get a small fee at no additional cost to you. You can also use Experian Business. Now, I recommend if you are going to be signing up for Experian Business credit reports that you get the annual plan, which is $189. That's for the year, and it's going to give you updated credit monitoring with Experian Business. Not to mention, you're going to get more data with that plan versus just pulling your business credit reports once for $49.95. It's an investment and it's a business expense, and you need to make it. Okay, pony up and pay the $189. Okay, stop being cheap when it comes to your business, because if you're being cheap when it comes to your business, either it's going to get you cheap results or it's going to take you a very long time. When it comes to the SBFE, normal people like me and you, we cannot go to the SBFE and request a report from them. Why? Because we are not their members. Again, they are an association. So banks and financial institutions that report to the SBFE, those are their members. Therefore, they are able to pull data reports for businesses. Therefore, we will pull a report for you and send it to you as proof that the trade line has reported to SBFE. And I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like in just a minute. You can contact Equifax Business Solutions directly and request a report from them. Now, keep in mind, Equifax reporting is brand new, so we do not have any examples of how that looks because we just got approved to report to Equifax Business, since so many banks and financial institutions are now using Equifax Business to help make decisions when it comes to business lending, like Truist. Truist is one of the hot banks out there that's going to give you up to $50K with no docs. They pull business Equifax. They're going to pull personal Equifax. So if you are looking to bypass the PG, it's only going to happen if you have enough revenue. Here is a sample of an Experian business credit report. Now you can see this was dated December 18th of 2023. So this is super recent. And this client did not even have a report with Experian before they purchased our business trade lines. You can see now they have an 86, which is an excellent score with Experian. You can see that they are extremely low risk. And guess what? They had it says right here, Experian years on file, less than a year. Yeah, because they just got a file. But that's great. I'm glad that we were able to help them. Now, it does say that one of the factors is the average age of commercial accounts. So they just need to work on building Experian, get more credit accounts that report to Experian and just show that on-time payment history. On-time payments are extremely important when it comes to business credit. You have to understand when you take these loans, lines of credit, and business credit cards, if you run them up, you are going to have a large monthly payment that you are going to have to pay in the next 30 days or so. So be prepared for that. It's not going to be anything super cheap. So if your business is not producing revenue, you need to have some sort of income to be able to pay this back, because you don't want to mess up everything and take on more than you can actually afford to pay. Here's another example of the business report that we were just looking at. You can see that their financial stability risk rating is very low. They're at a 2, and Experian recommends a credit line of $42,900. That number is only going to go up from here. Now, here is what it looks like. The business trade line that is reporting, they did get $100,000 business trade line, and you can see how that looks on the report. It is not a net 30. It does say financial services, and it is a contract. It does give you the balance left due, and again, that's going to report every month until that balance is paid in full. Here's an example of an SBFE report. Many of you may have not seen what your SBFE report looks like, since us as consumers and business owners, we cannot pull it, but this is what it looks like. So you can see this is recent. This was as of December 6, 2023. You can see it is a term loan for working capital. It is a $50,000 limit for this business. You can see the remaining balance that they have and that they have been current and not delinquent. So this helps tremendously when you are having other financial institutions pull your data, because now they can see, oh yeah, well, they have a 50,000, they have a 25,000. So this particular person, they added 2 SBFE trade lines, one for 50, one for 25. So this is another example that was pulled on December 6th, just to show you what the $25,000 trade line looks like on the SBFE reports. You can see the balance due. You can see that it is revolving non-card account. So this is a revolving line of credit. And this looks really good if you are going to get any sort of revolving line of credit or an installment, because the first one was an installment. This one is revolving. So again, you're meeting all of those data points that banks are going to feel comfortable lending to you, especially if someone has already given you 25,000, if someone has already given you 50,000. Okay. So it's like when I had a trade lines, when I finally learned about business trade lines, and I don't know why I haven't shared this with you guys sooner, but for me, I like to really, test things and just really research them before I share them with you. And now I really have the confidence, because not only have I used business trade lines, but I've helped my clients use business trade lines, help them get auto loans, so many different things in their business name, because before they just didn't have any sort of comparable credit. It's like having no credit. It's like no bank wants to be the first one to do it, right? So I do have a course. It's called Banks, Funding, and More course, and it covers a ton of information. So I've left the link below in the descriptions. Here are some of the topics that are inside of the course. We're giving you the Navy Federal Masterclass. And again, all of these videos have the slideshows and the downloads in there, constantly adding more information about personal credit, business credit, banks, funding, so much more. So there's going to be a lot of great information, not to mention how to start a business, how to start your LLC. I mean, if I would have known all this information, I could have saved so much money, but I put it all there for you guys. I also have a business credit course and a personal credit course, but I put a lot of good information into this course to get you guys started. And then if you do need help with coaching, you can always book a call. The link is below. So let's talk about what is this going to cost you. Now, like I said, the market value is 10% of the trade line. We are a lot lower. However, our packages are varying because of the fact that we just started reporting to Equifax. It does cost a little bit more, but if you just send me an email, or you can use the link below to download the latest price sheet for our business trade line packages. I've actually left a link below in the description for you to download the latest and greatest business trade lines and personal AU trade lines. So all of the trade lines that we offer, our trade lines link is below, and you can check our latest pricing. We do not offer trade line financing for the business side or for the personal side until it is paid in full. So we cannot post anything. If you do some sort of payment plan, your plan will have to be paid in full before we can fully submit your order. We have had too many issues with people in the past not paying. So unfortunately, that program is just no longer. But you can check our latest pricing and definitely make sure that you invest in your business, because this is one of the best investments that you can make, not to mention the fact that you can 10x your personal trade lines to your business trade lines. And once you have business trade lines, it's like, I wouldn't say you're going to get the same amount with every single bank, but you're going to have a lot more leverage to get higher limits when you have good, solid trade lines. You got a bunch of net 30s. Those are not what the banks are looking for. Okay. Net 30s are just a bunch of trash, garbage. That's just not what the banks want to see. Banks want to see real credit, cash, trade lines, okay? If you are interested in purchasing business trade lines, here is all the information to contact us. And I have left all of this information in the links in the description of this video. Make sure to follow me at Credit Coach Nicole Scott. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video all about business trade lines. Make sure that you have liked and subscribed. Share this video with friends, family. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. And again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so, especially if you are interested in learning more about personal credit, business credit, credit repair, starting a credit repair business, trade lines, and more. I've got the business credit playlist coming up next.